Before we are going to start solving quadratic equations by using quadratic formula, we are going to learn how to derive the quadratic formula. We are going to start from general form of a quadratic equation. Okay? Keep in mind that coefficient of the second degree term is called a, coefficient of the first degree term is b, and constant is c. Now, in order to find or derive the quadratic formula, we are going to solve this formula for x. In order to do so, we are going to use the method called solving quadratic equation by completing the square. Okay, as you remember, if you want to complete the square, you're supposed to make sure that you are going to move constant to the right side of the equal sign in this case. So we're going to have a x squared plus bx is equal negative c. Next, you're supposed to keep in mind that the coefficient of your second degree term is supposed to be positive 1. In order to get positive 1, next to x squared, I'm supposed to divide both sides of the equation by the coefficient which is next to x squared. In this case, I have a. Okay, so a and a will cancel out, and I have x squared plus bx over a is equal negative c over a. In order to complete square, we're supposed to copy down x squared plus b over a x plus, we're supposed to copy down this coefficient b over a and divide it by 2, and everything we're supposed to raise to the second power equals negative c over a. I just copy this down, and whatever I have add to the left side of my equation, I'm supposed to also add to the right side. So I have to add plus b over a over 2 to the second power. Please notice that we have fraction in the numerator of this fraction. So what I'm supposed to do, I'm supposed to also make fraction in the denominator. So in order to divide fractions, I'm supposed to copy down first fraction, b over a. Division I have to change to multiplication, and I'm supposed to find the reciprocal of the second fraction, 1 over 2. Multiply these two fractions, b times 1 is b, a times 2 is 2a. That's why I can rewrite this equation as x squared plus b over a x plus, and instead of this expression, I'm supposed to write this one, b over 2a to the second power equals negative c over a plus, again, instead of the expression which is inside of the parentheses, I'm going to write b over 2a to the second power. Next, we're supposed to write x plus b over 2a to the second power. As you remember, we're supposed to copy down x, we're supposed to copy this sign, and supposed to copy this base. Equals negative c over a plus, and now we're supposed to use the properties of exponents and simply write b squared over 4a squared. Please notice that on the right side of my equation, I have two fractions which I'm supposed to add. In order to add fractions, I'm supposed to find the common denominator. Common denominator for these two fractions is 4a squared. So I have to simply multiply this denominator by 4a in order to get 4a squared over here. Whatever I did in the denominator, I have to do also in the numerator. So I have 4a. Next, we're supposed to continue and simply copy down x plus b over 2a squared equals negative 4ac plus b squared over 4a squared. Next, I'm going to switch the positions of these two terms because I prefer to have first term positive. So I'm going to have x plus b over 2a to the second power is equal b squared minus 4ac over 4a squared. Next, you're supposed to realize that we are looking for x. In order to do so, we're supposed to square root both sides of the equation. And I'm going to have x plus b over 2a is equal plus minus square root of b squared minus 4ac over 4a squared. Next, I'm going to move b over 2a to the right side of my equal sign because I'm looking for x. I want to solve this equation for x. And I'm going to have x equals minus b over 2a plus minus, and I'm going to have square root of b squared minus 4ac over 2a because square root of 4a squared is equal to a. Now we have common denominator. We have x equals minus b plus minus square root b squared minus 4ac over 2a. Take a look. We have obtained quadratic formula. Now we are going to use this formula to solve quadratic equations. There is very important thing which you're supposed to remember about quadratic equation. The quantity under the radical sign is called discriminant. Discriminant is going to tell me how many solutions I'm going to have and what kind of solutions I'm going to have. So if b squared minus 4ac has value greater than 0, we are going to have two real solutions. Okay? If you are going to have discriminant equal 0, we are going to have only one solution. If the value of your discriminant is going to be less than 0, these students who didn't cover at this moment yet the complex numbers, you are going to say that there is no solution. But students who covered complex number are going to say that there are two imaginary solutions. So this is a very important parameter of the quadratic equation.